Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bedford County Live. I'm David Thomas. I'm with Bo Gill tonight.
Hello,
We're here to talk all things Bedford County, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight, Bo.
We do.
First of all, I want to talk about the weather. Today's been a rainy day. Tonight, I understand we might get some snow flurries a little bit later. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but the temperature is going to drop tonight, get down around 30 degrees. Yeah. And there's a slight chance that we'll see some flurries, but it's not going to amount to anything.
I think it won't. You noticed right at about 3 o'clock, the wind started changing, coming out of the north, and it got a little cooler. And just a sign that winter's not over, but it won't be too much longer. But it's been a really wet weekend, wet day. Y'all be careful out there. Any bridges, overpasses that water over, make sure that go slow or turn around if you get it to that point. I don't know if there are any. There are certain areas in Bedford County that are. And watch out for the hydroplane, and it can be dangerous. So slow down and just be safe out there.
Yeah. Bo, lots happened this past week. I know there's been a couple of crazy scanner calls that we've heard. One today, I think you heard. Tell us about it.
Well, I was listening to the scanner and the Shelbyville police call. It was a lady. Her cable box was broke, and she wanted the police to come and rectify that situation.
So you now dial 911 when your cable box breaks.
Cable and all. No, we're joking. What it is it's a waste of time for this police officer. The police do not handle cable boxes. They don't repair them. They probably could. I'm not saying y'all can't. They're different kind of. They can do a lot, but they're police officers when they're clocked in and when the badge is on. So let's let them be police officers. Call for any emergencies or anything of that nature. I'm sure she probably got a pretty good reprimand from the police.
I don't know.
The proper use of 911.
The sad part about it, they had to fill out a report for that.
Yeah, they did. But, they will respond. So they're going to respond regardless, but I doubt that they're going to fix that cable box. But who knows? They might do a good deal.
A few months ago, I heard a call come in. A lady called, and I think it was Shelbyville Police Department. I'm pretty sure it was. Her refrigerator quit running. She called 911. And let's see.
Yeah.
Last Thursday, a lady called 911 because her toddler would not sit still, so she could put the toddler in his or her car seat. I think it's a little boy. She called 911, called police. I don't know. And I've heard several occasions on the scanner over the last few months of parents calling because their children wouldn't get out of bed and go to school. They call the police.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whatever possesses somebody to call the police for just normal parenting.
Parenting. 101.
No,
101.
I don't get it.
A spank in the belt usually goes a long way, but it's a waste of our officers' time. But when we do talk about the scanner, I want to encourage you to go to ShelbyvilleNow.com and you can listen to the police scanner. It's free. You just click play there. You get on ShelbyvilleNow.com. It'll lead you to the area there where that is. Hey, it's always good to be informed, know what's going on around you. So make sure to tune into that free service we provide here at Shelbyville Now.
All right, there was another scare last week, toward the end of the week. I think it was on Thursday as well. Maybe it was Friday, where Central High School, Learning Way, and Harrisville School were locked down because of a young man gone missing. Well, that young man has been found, and he is safe. And he was taken into custody over the weekend. And we just want to praise our Shelbyville Police Department, Bedford County Sheriff's Department for getting on that and taking care of it.
And our school system for being aware and maybe making them aware of all that. So, pause all the way around. We hope the young man gets all the help he needs. And we just, we're glad that he didn't hurt no one else. So thank you all for that participated to make that happen.
Well, let's stop now and thank our sponsors, Bo. We've got Lowry Jewelers out on North Main Street, and it's about that time. Today is February the 12th. 2 days away from Valentine's. You still have time to get in there and take advantage of this sale they've got going on. 25% off of stones, diamonds, and gold. And I think silver is 30% off or something like that.
Go see Lowry's.
It's on our website. It's on our website, and it's on their Facebook page. They've got a nice sale going on this time.
And they know what you want. You tell them kind of what you want, they'll help you. Go there on North Main Street, right next to the Christian bookstore, and a good place, but not sponsored tonight. On North Main Street.
Right. And also, we've got Dennis Young Insurance out on Madison Street, 931-680-1011. Dennis and his gang can take care of all your insurance needs, whether it's business, personal, commercial, homeowners, car insurance, whatever it is, they'll take care of you. Yeah. They've got a great team.
If you think you're spending too much, why not give him a shot? He might give you a bid that's lower. It might surprise you. So make sure to call Dennis.
Absolutely. And he will go over things with you. He just won't throw something at you. They'll sit down with you and do an analysis. So that's very valuable.
Two fine sponsors.
Yeah, and we appreciate that tonight. Charlie Harper. Charlie, it's good to see you in there tonight. Glad you're
Charlie
watching.
Harper.
If you're out there watching right now, please chime in on our live chat, and we will give you a shout out. We want to engage with you guys tonight to see what you want to talk about. But just to get the conversation kicked off, I would like to follow up on last week. Bo, we talked about our homeless crisis that's taking place here in Shelbyville and Bedford County, and we have a meeting tomorrow night at 5:15 on the second floor of the courthouse.
That's
the
right.
The
homeless task force.
The homeless
task
force.
By Drew Hooker, and with an array of city officials, county officials.
Well, there's all types of people involved.
Police leaders of the community.
And they want your comments. They want your ideas because they're putting a plan together to address this in a concerted effort. Okay, hey Terry, good to have you in there tonight.
It's important to be there. This is the one kind of mouthpiece that we need that's already been established, and that this is where your concerns, your voice will get heard. It's a very open forum there, but it's also let's all be respectful when we're there. But it is an open forum. They will let you talk because this is an important issue to everyone. So I encourage everyone to be at the courthouse, 5:15. It's on the second floor. It'll be the homeless task force.
Emily, good to see you in there. And Emily's saying you need to go check with Dennis about the insurance.
Yeah, we need to go shop. We're going might see what we can do there.
All right.
I think
the conversation that we had last week was very valuable. I think it gave a lot of insight and gave a lot of vantage points, a lot of viewpoints, which is healthy when you're trying to come up with a solution, because you do have to look at all aspects of it. And since then, I mean, there's been a lot of exposure, Rob, since last week, Bo, and there's more talk. But a lot of other things happened since we sat down last week. Our city council here in Shelbyville met, and there were a couple of items that came up. We talked about this on Saturday morning on our Ahead of the Curve Live, Bo.
Mm-hmm. I watched that.
Josh Blevins covered that meeting, and we've talked about it since. But there's some debate now and some conversation about making some renovations to our H.B. Griffin Park complex, which the proposal was brought up to apply for a grant that would pay for a soccer complex that would be more than one field. I think it's like a club relief design, and
about 6 fields, I think, if I remember right. And it's what the whole issue, they wanted to submit an application, so they went to the city council to get permission to send an application to hopefully get the $7 million grant. And what did
it's a 50% grant.
50%. They estimated the cost of $16 million. That's where the $7 million comes from. Who knows what it might end up being, but it is a 50% grant. Thank you for correcting me. But it is something that was well supported, and the soccer community in Bedford County, they showed up and they were heard that night. So hats off to those that were there. Look, it's going to be a nice thing. I think soccer is, unfortunately, I'm a baseball kind of guy, little league, all-star. Well, I ran around, but that was my thing. But unfortunately, soccer, fortunately or unfortunately, soccer is the sport now around here. We've got an indoor complex. This right here is going to create 6 fields, and it's not only this layout that they presented will be in a couple phases. The first phase will be the soccer complex, and that will be estimated cost of $16 million.
14.
Maybe I've already inflated it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it probably has changed since last week, though.
Yes, it might have 14, but maybe they have.
Connie Miller.
But I think it's a good thing. But they've got baseball complex that'll be the second phase, but that's down the road. They've given the director of the Parks and Recreation went over very well about the soils and just how the plan will be laid out. But the question at the end of the day was, where are we going to get that other 7 million? And that's not really the question they had to answer that night. They were just submitting an application.
Well, let's talk about that just for a second, though. I know there are a lot of cities that have this type of complex, and one in particular, if you go south of I-65 at Athens, Alabama, they have a nice complex that you can see right by the interstate. And there's several soccer fields. It's outdoor. But from my understanding, Athens actually got private business to go in and do sponsorship. And that's how they pay for it completely. I think that if we went to some of the larger corporations that have impact here in Bedford County, that we could get quite a bit of funds raised that way. And I think we should go down that path. What do you think?
I think that would be a great path to go down. And it was also mentioned, the only, it's what, if they get the grant, it's 50%. So whatever the other 50% they have to pay, they said, well, maybe the city can pay 40 and then private individuals get naming rights, for fields. And that's where the private come in. I would make the argument it'd be great if the whole thing could be paid for by private.
Well, it could be. If we worked real hard at it,
I think so. I know it could be. I know we came together on several, the private community has on several of the playground back in the days. I know it's happened here before. That might be a great way to come up with it. I know also the city was mentioning the county, would they be willing to step in and do that?
Okay, let's talk about that.
But then that was right before they had the lawsuit.
Right after that, they come out and say, we're going to sue you now.
If we have help, and then,
that's another topic we'll talk about. But back on
we're still all in it together.
Let's look at the park complex when it was renovated and we had the rec center put in place. It was supposed to pay for itself. It didn't pay for itself. Okay, we had to pay for it. The membership probably maintained quite a bit of it, but I don't think that they're quite positive. I don't ever see soccer complex paying for itself because it takes a long time, and we're hoping that we get some tax revenue from people traveling in for tournaments. That means you're going to have a lot of people putting on tournaments, and we're going to have some hotels and restaurants built.
Yes, that's definitely going to be a big one.
Okay.
When I played softball out of town, that was the main thing. You looked at a hotel first, and here they would have to stay. There's a few here.
They're staying in Murfreesboro,
but they're Oklahoma. They are, and I've heard that from multiple people. But the soccer complex, I'm convinced that it would probably stay full all year whenever the weather was good. It may not. You're right.
The place in Panama City, they have a huge park. It's right there by Pier Park on the north side of Highway 98. And they have multiple fields, soccer fields, they have baseball fields, they have softball fields, and they have tournaments year round. And I know a lady that's on the city council there, and she said it brings the revenue in for the hotels and restaurants, which it's a mecca anyway. I mean, everybody's coming in there nonstop anyway. It's always crowded.
Yeah, not just
but they do bring in some people during some of the off times. Yeah. It's not, there's no off time now because of that. But she told me that it's not going to pay for itself. It never would pay for itself.
Well, especially in Florida with they're playing all year round. Here, we're playing
and it's not paying for itself. Yeah, what they spent there, they made it as an investment to recoup through the tax. But as far as the tournament's going, it's a losing proposition.
It is economically. I think you're probably right, but I think for a healthy community and an active community, and for a healthy children that are the future of our community, recreation, sports are life lessons learned, and they're very important.
Okay.
But I do get
we got Jonathan Spence in here, and we got Emily. Have you heard any talk about another hotel coming besides the one we already know about? I hadn't heard about that. And Hampton Inn is supposedly going to build, but they hadn't done anything since they made the announcement.
I have heard talks of one possibly coming. It's just talks. There's nothing official come through, but we'll see.
Here's the problem, though. These hotels are not going to come up in here and build something, hope that we have people coming to town. They're going to come here after we get people to town. That's the chicken or the egg scenario.
That's right. And I think if they, I'm sure they survey what we've got here, and they're probably not getting a lot of data from it because most people are staying out of town.
Okay, Jonathan Spence. We played a couple here, and the park just couldn't handle everyone at the same time. That's true.
No, they can't.
Laura Blake. Okay, she brings up the point that I just brought up, though. I cannot say it enough. We need to worry about infrastructure before we worry about a soccer complex.
Well,
The
that's
revenue
exactly right.
from said complex would never help with the city costs. You're 100% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so much going on and so many things we need to invest in that I would say that it is most important for the infrastructure.
Do you remember when we fixed the flume the last time?
Yes, I do.
We put a Band-Aid on it.
Yep, and
We got a 60-year-old piece of pipe under us. It's about it could cave in most
not to
anywhere.
mention the pumps.
Yes, and they just spent what on that?
A lot.
Okay, all right. So Laura Blake brings up a great point.
Yeah, that is a good
There
point.
is not enough money humanly collectible in the city of Shelbyville and in the county that would pay for all the stuff we're behind on, the infrastructure wise. We'll never get it caught up, but we got to start doing it at some point, and we got to set our priorities. And I think, Laura, you bring up a good point. If we can get private business to step in and do the soccer, I'm all for it. But if the city taxpayer, let's get the grant, supply the land, and then let the rest fall into the corporate.
I think, and that's where your community representatives come in, and you go to them, or you just go. If you can help, you go. I mean, there needs to be a team put together to recruit private business to invest in that. Now,
what's wrong with contacting Nike?
Why not? Nike will sponsor. They
if you give them the sponsorship on, you're going to have permits every week. They'll throw some chunk. They'll throw some change.
I'm sure that they could do a lot. There are more means than just paying for it.
Call Rick Ansel.
Rick Ansel will do it in a heartbeat. He'll give you the hook. He'll tell you.
He'll tell you who to talk to at night. Okay, well, Jonathan Spence, still fixing portions right now. Absolutely right, Jonathan. There's a major expenditure taking place, and you drive down Madison Street right now. When it rained, I don't know if it was today, but when it comes to one of those flash floods, Madison Street's underwater. Yeah. And that is due to capacity. Okay. And you got runoff coming from all sides on Madison Street when it pools there, and the water can't get out fast enough. Part of it's the flume, part of it's the way it's been routed.
Yeah, and we're a watershed right through there. It's going to come through here. Another, I would say, at the mention in the city council meeting tonight, Bobby Turnbow did come up. You know, he kind of said it was a kind of a good feeling going on about because the soccer thing and what we need to have. But he did kind of snap us back to reality, and I was glad that he said this. He said, you know, we do need a police department, a new police department. There are needs. We know that they have well outgrown that and the fire department, and they have been, you know, I think on the record of saying, hey, we need help. You know, do we put these projects before our police and fire? I don't think so, but that's where the private sector can come through and take some of that relief off. But I was glad that he brought up that point because he's exactly right. Those are two of our.
That's our basics.
That's our basics. We have to have help. We have to have a protection police. We have to feel safe, and we have to be, you know, taken care of when disaster strikes. And for him to bring that up, you know, it had to be said, and I was glad that he said that. And we need to kind of put our priorities in order, and maybe if that means the private sector stepping up.
That's where our tax dollars go. Okay,
that's
right.
The
soccer field, our leverage that we have by getting a grant because we are in the state of Tennessee. It's a Tennessee grant. We are a city. We can apply for it, and that's going to cover half of it. Plus, you have the land that's very valuable that we own there. Donate the land. But don't come out of pocket with taxpayer money. Yeah. Let the private sector fund it. I think it could happen if you organize and sell it properly.
I think so, and give them the total control. I mean, and then you can signage however. But that I think that has happened in multiple counties and surrounding, and I think that is the key right there.
Emily brings this up. Speaking of lodging, do y'all know what we have available besides the hotels, tiny homes, etc.? I recently learned of the silos at Promise Manor right as you come into Lynchburg. It's beautiful. There are two. Can we have anything like that in the city? I think people would invest in something like that and try to make money if we actually become a destination. I know we are a little bit with a horse show, and I don't know what else is going to bring us. I know Duck River is good in the summer.
Definitely.
We've got to somehow package us ourselves as a destination. Right now, we're not that destination that's going to bring that, but we might be one day.
And we need, I would say we need to focus on affordable rooms, because these people a lot of times want to come and spend $50 a night. Some of these other ones are higher, but there are individual ones here in Bedford County and in surrounding counties that are very nice and affordable, but just not at the hotel rate. But
well, the hotel rates around here,
they're
$100 minimum. $100 minimum.
No more $49.99.
No, that's over. That's all right. All right. Jonathan Spence also talks about right by coffee beans, where Humble Baron is supposed to build their new restaurant distillery is dug up and has been for months. Yes, and there's a lot of work and a lot of money going to be spent right there for a private business.
They just approved an increase on that this last city council meeting. Forgot what it was. It was, I think, $100 and something thousand that they went over budget on that.
All right, well, I'll just tell you this: the city's paying for that.
Oh yes, and the city promised.
I'm a private business. 15 years ago, I tried to get the city just to let me pave my parking lot. I couldn't do it without building $1 million retention pond and putting the pump in, and I had no offer to help on that.
This is going to cost, I think, it's close to $750,000.
This is for being done for a private business.
It's exactly right. The road is not well traveled. It's a good cut through, but anyways, we digress.
All right, well, there's a lot going on here. Charlie Harper, with all the building that it's going, has anyone thought about the public works department can handle all of it? That's another thing.
Oh, they're going to have to hire.
We'll have to increase
more trash trucks.
Yeah.
More,
all of it. All these services
that's part
of to be ramped
infrastructure,
up.
I would say.
That's infrastructure, yeah. Energy services as a whole needs a large boost in this city county. All of them are understaffed and without all of the equipment they need. Amen to that. Tim Baker, you have to be a dedicated, well-connected group of people that can come under a government umbrella to make those sponsorships happen. It has to be a coordinated effort. Absolutely correct. Somebody's got to do it.
And you got to be willing to work together.
But it can be done, and there's a way. The other communities do it. We're going to have to.
You got to cohesively exist and both all governments.
I mean, we've got a water issue. We've got all these other issues that's been mentioned. And to take away from it as a priority and put a soccer complex ahead of those things is a mistake, because we'll be looking up one day and we'll have a collapsed Madison Street closed down, but we want to have a soccer field.
Right.
Now, we can still do it, though.
Yeah, we don't want to be misinterpreted as being anti-soccer.
We can do it.
But we're logically kind of talking this out together.
Yeah.
I think that if we all, we're honest with ourselves, that we need those priorities set straight. But I do agree. This is going to be a lot. I would say let's step up and hopefully they can come up with some ideas to get that money.
Okay, Tammy changed. Why didn't they make the homeless clean up their mess instead of having to take city workers and clean up their mess? That's a good question. It is on city property where most of this takes place. Some of it has been just left. The one that we gave the overhead shot of is ongoing. It's a constant mess.
Tammy, I would say if they would not let them on that property in the first place, that there wouldn't be that big of a problem. So if they could, if once the city workers do clean this up, if they can somehow patrol that to keep the people out of that, then it'll stay clean. I don't know if you all noticed, but the river's up now, and all the pictures that you saw last week of the garbage and the debris right there on the side of the riverbanks. Guess where they're going?
They're floating. They're floating.
So this is just happening. This is serious, and I haven't seen hardly any. I haven't been back since last week, but I have seen a pile of metal and maybe some bicycles. But that I guarantee you that stuff's going. It can only get worse, and if we do not remove them from that public land right there, that just will have to be done the hard way or the easy way.
There's a lot of ideas that are floating around on that boat, so maybe we'll hear something.
I hope so.
Okay, city is babying Humble Baron to try to keep them happy. They need to make them step up and start dumping that money back into it. And I'm not going to go down that path. Yeah. I agree with what he's saying.
We'll say that first.
It's a private business, but there's some infrastructure issues that the city is responsible for. But private business has its own needs that it has to pay for as well. That's so right. There's a combination there, and there's a proper balance.
Right.
Okay, Emily, if I'm not mistaken, they may have used inmates. I can't confirm right now. There's a possibility.
Good, they should.
All right, Tim, I would also suggest talking. Hold on, we just flipped here. talking to city leaders in other cities who are further along in the process. 6 years ago,
Yes.
Huntsville was the same size Shelbyville is now. I hope we don't turn into Huntsville.
That's the best way to get information is to go to those that have been through it. And when the best ones that have created the solutions, we need to take notes, come back and action though. We can take all the notes we want. If we don't come back and take action, then it gets worse.
Terry Warren, yes, I looked the last couple of days. I thought to myself, the river's going to take it all away, and it's gone. Jonathan Smith, ride past Circle of Friends, where the driveway goes into the woods. They have vehicles back there that they use to haul junk in and dump it. And 3 walking out this morning. That belongs to the railroad, the way I understand
it. It is, and they've got plans for a walkway through there in the future, but that does belong to the railroad that does not run anymore. Let's not pretend that it's a working railroad or anything.
Okay, Donna Smith, at the city council meeting, when they were talking about the North Britain construction, Humble Baron was not interested in tearing down those 2 remaining buildings. And it was mentioned that I hope those buildings were torn down and the brewery wasn't interested in helping with making the Flume project construction cohesive at this time. That's not good. We need cooperation with that.
We need cooperation always.
A nice sports complex will generate constant revenue paid for by grants. That money can be used to pay for things that the taxpayers will have to pay for as long as the officials use it wisely. Okay.
That's a big but.
Nice sports complex will generate constant revenue paid for by grants. What kind of grants can the sports complex get? Improvement stuff?
I would say that I don't probably something for helping with
kids,
help with kids and things. I would say that a lot of it's grant based, but you would hate to have to depend on grants.
Think about it.
You would really. There might be something there.
I want everybody to think about this. Grant. Where does the grant money come from?
Me and you. We're granting.
We're granting. Okay. All right, Jonathan. Property around it doesn't. Okay. Chastity Lane is huge, but what are we doing here? Okay. All right, Jonathan. We talked to the homeless task force who confirmed the owner lives out of state and doesn't want to trespass the homeless. So they can't do anything about them but monitor and ensure they're not breaking laws. Okay, he's talking about the property behind there. I know I was talking to somebody and they told me that the railroad, whatever the name of it is, the organization, is out of state. And they really can't get a hold of anybody. So there must be some other private property back there that they've talked about.
There is, and I know one project that's going on now that they're having the same problem because of an access there, and they can't get the railroad company to answer to sign off. They need to clean that area up back there, but that's the railroad's responsibility.
Okay, now Laura brings up the tracks aren't used anymore. The railroads will take them out to make the land more useful. And Jonathan Spence is talking about the track itself is a railroad. But from what I understand, they're going to pull those up and they're going to make like a trail that goes
to the river.
And I don't understand that, but there's a grant coming for that.
There is. That is it. That is in the works.
Mayor Carroll was on here a couple months ago talking about
and that'll be nice. I mean, if it's well kept, I mean, I don't, if the square becomes what they're hoping it will become, then it might be. But it's kind of like a walkway to nowhere, in my opinion. Maybe if you go to Calsonic Arena.
Chastity Lane, but grant comes from the state, not city and county.
Right.
Cost solution is needed for this county. Yes, and it comes from the state that we live in, that we pay sales tax in. So it's coming out of our pockets. We might as well get some of it back. Right?
Unfortunately.
We should try to get it back.
Love that.
Well, I mean, if we get a grant, maybe some of that's coming from us getting it back.
That is getting it back. I mean, it is our money, like we said, but we are getting it back. And hey, if we can get grants, then I'll go all day long. But
most of the time, Bo, these grants have a string attached to them.
That's what
you gotta pay it too.
There's a string attached, and they're not always guaranteed. And I would hate to, rely all the way on those grants. But it would be a great resource, and I hope that they have a grant person, hired, because it would be a full-time job because it's not easy to get grants.
Okay, Terry's asking, where is the walkway going to lead to? The river.
It'll lead to the river, and it'll come off of East Lane Street, and it'll go behind where the railroad goes to, and it'll go up to the square.
It'll go right through that patch right behind the Circle of Friends.
It'll go right through that patch right there, and it could be nice. I haven't seen any renderings of it or anything, any drawings. I've seen the downtown part, but I'm not sure where you're going to go towards Madison Street. I think you're kind of out of luck at the end, but it'll be something nice. Hey, I'm all for a nice walk park right there in the middle of town, and if it cleans it up, then hey, I think that's what we're looking for. That's that's the goal here, is to have cleaner, better, safer town, and that would be one way to rectify it.
Yeah, for sure. So all this stuff that's coming together as part of infrastructure that we're talking about, even the soccer complex, it's a recreational part of infrastructure because it is a municipality has to do that.
Yes.
There's no private business in the world going to come and build a soccer complex because they'll never make a penny and spend a fortune. So that's the reason the government, we have to come together and agree that we're going to make our city better. We have to do things like that, but we got to worry about Madison Street caving in.
We got to have priorities, and I know some priorities are different than others, and it's not to discount any of them. But these are discussions that need to be had, not here, only here, but it needs to be made where these decisions can be made and implemented, and that we can have real talk and real solutions. I mean, there's a little get and a little give.
Okay, Tim, I know I've been out of the loop for a few decades, but who is actually tasked with private business recruitment? Well, Tim, there's, I don't really know. We had what we call the Shelbyville-Bedford Partnership, which is kind of spun off into its own private thing now. The county funds it a little bit. The city no longer does.
And it gobbled up the chamber. So that used to be another place to go to.
Honestly, Tim, I don't think there's anybody really speaking on behalf of the city of Shelbyville at the moment. They have talked about hiring a deputy city manager with the job of industrial and retail recruitment. Okay.
That hasn't been discussion. I know that they've kind of went back on a couple times. They're rethinking it. I know that it's still there.
But honestly, Tim, since you've been gone, we graduated high school together, and that was 1980. Since then, there's never really been any concerted effort that brought worthwhile. I'm not going to say that. There's been a lot of people that come in and set up businesses, but I don't think there's not been an organization that's really had a concerted effort and did it the right way.
Right.
So
it's time for a change, and we can always do better.
Terry Warren asked, so the purpose is just a walkway like at the park? Yeah, and I think it's maybe bicycle too.
I pictured it as the railroad's pretty wide when you got the right of way there. So I picture it as a pretty wide walkway with maybe benches up and down. I have no idea.
Jonathan just answered that question. Replying to Terry Michelle Warren, paved trail system for walking, biking that is kept up by parks.
That'd be nice. I'm all in.
Yeah. All right. So it's going to walk over to the area where the new overlook is going to be.
That's the plan. To go to the overlook and possibly down to the river somehow.
Yeah, somehow. And there is a map of it somewhere.
And that's cool. I mean, that would be if that's kept up and the businesses around it are thriving and staying. I mean, I can see nothing but a benefit to our city, anything like that.
I mean, there's a lot of debate and a lot of discussion that can go into all these things. A lot of it's already in motion, but the soccer thing is new. It's fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody needs to get behind it and try to come up with ideas. Now, the issue is we cannot neglect and we can't overlook the fact that we're so far behind with our infrastructure.
We
can't. It comes up every time these developments come up.
It has to. You have to be the bad guy in the room and ask the questions like Mr. Turnbow did the other night. And you're not being the bad guy. You're actually being the responsible guy. But when you're going off of feelings, sometimes it feels like that. But logically, that is what the right thing to do is to bring up the real conversation. We can't ignore it, but we're not discounting that recreation is important around here because we both participated as children and our children in recreation. We got to have it.
Jonathan comes back in there, space enough for a decent walkway, but again, if the city has to pay for it, don't do it. We did get a grant of $750,000. It's my understanding, and we didn't have to match it. We got that from the state. So,
very clear.
Yeah. Well, that's the rumor. That's what our mayor was told. So hopefully that handles what they have to do with it. Now, it doesn't handle the upkeep going forward.
No.
But looking at it this way, it's probably most of it's going to be paid for. for that.
And upkeep is me and you. That's not trashing Bedford County. Remember, let's just throw stuff away.
Terry, I'll look into that. I'll ask Mayor Carroll if he's got a rendition of what that's going to look like. But
yeah,
free and clear, laughing out loud. That's it.
Free and clear.
There's always a catch.
We're
There's
here
always
from the
a
government.
string.
We're ready to help you.
Yeah. All right, Mo.
What about it?
I think we need to wind this down. Thanks for everybody conversing tonight.
Always a good conversation.
Yeah, always a good conversation with you guys, and we appreciate you coming in and sharing your evening with us and giving us your opinion on things. I think it's great that we can sit down like this. I hope that we can grow this show to get more participants. I want to talk about one thing that's coming up and be on the lookout for. We're going to start a photo contest, and it's not going to be where we judge your photos or anything like that. We're going to actually take a photo of somewhere in Bedford County, and we're going to post it. If you know where that location is, all you have to do is say, I know where it is, and say where it's at, and you will be entered into a drawing for a prize that's going to be worth your while.
Are you going to be going to Hardee's and just taking a picture of Hardee's and making it easy, or is it going to be hard? I mean, we're talking about kind of a scavenger
hunt. It's going to be like a scavenger hunt.
Oh, it's going to be fun then.
You're going to have been at this particular spot. We're going to do this every week.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. A new place every week, and it'll be a place that you just won't recognize. You're going to have to look at it, and there's going to be a hint in every one of the pictures. So we're going to start on Thursday. There'll be one posted, so y'all be looking out for that on our Facebook, on our Facebook page, and also on our website. It'll be posted, and that contest will begin. It'll go for a week. All right. One other thing, Bo, I want to remind everybody that next week, hopefully, we're going to have high definition. We're getting our fiber optic installed on this Friday, so we are going to be able to have a very high resolution for you guys. Great audio, a great picture, something that you can put up on your big screen and watch without all the mess that we have there.
We have to wear TV makeup then?
No TV makeup. That's
I mean, it's going to show all the imperfections all over.
Hey, Tim, you're going to stink at the contest. No, there'll be some spots, I promise. You've been gone for decades, you will still recognize, because the first one is going to be a place that you would recognize, I promise.
Oh.
Okay. But
I like that. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, but hopefully what we're dealing with right now is an upload speed that's borderline to even being able to live stream.
Yeah, we're sorry. We apologize for the clarity of the video a lot of times. Sometimes the sound, most time it's okay, but next week we plan to have fiber optic installed and live. It'll be live. And
John Hart's won't know. Will the photo be inside the city limits? It could be. But the first one, I'll give you a hint. It's going to be from the county. No, it's almost like in the county, but
Bedford County.
In Bedford County. In Bedford County. That's all I can say.
That's a heck of a
all right, but
singled it out at least.
But we appreciate everybody watching tonight.
Yes, we do.
And be sure to remember we've got our live scanner 24/7 now. So if you want to see what's going on and hear some of these crazy calls,
man, you'll be entertained and you'll learn a little bit. And let's not forget those fine sponsors that have
Lowry Jewelers out on North Main Street. Go by and visit Billy and Sharon and Winston, of course, and their gang. You got 2 days, guys, to get your shopping done before Valentine's. All right, Dennis Young Insurance, 931-680-1011 out on Madison Street. Go by, and he will give you an insurance review. He has commercial, personal, homeowners, car insurance, liability, you name it, he's got it.
If you don't have it, he'll get it, right?
Well, no, he can't get the order. He's got his services. Yeah, he's good to go. All right, but thanks for watching tonight. We'll be back again at 8 o'clock next Monday night in high definition.
Knock on wood. If we're not, then we're sorry.
Thanks for watching.